Good morning. Welcome to Spilling COVFEFE with your host, KevinlyFather. It's going to be a short one today, kids. Welcome aboard. Hi, Marcy. Hi, Libby. Hi, at random. Yeah, my foot's already hurting this morning. So, just going to keep this short and not sweet. Probably traveling up to Seattle by car. There's a possibility of me doing a voiceover gig in Seattle on Thursday. But I don't. It's still up in the air. They don't know if they're going to do it or cancel or whatever, and it doesn't pay that much or whatever. But anyway, it might be worth traveling. I might be traveling with Kevinly daughter. I may not. She has to find someone to feed her cat. But I'm looking forward if I go to Seattle seeing. Getting COVID tested. I have an appointment to COVID test on Tuesday, PCR test, and then I can see my parents. I do have some nasal swab rapid tests, but it better be on the safe side completely. I haven't been anywhere. I mean, I've looked at some houses. What's cool is here in California, we went out. Nurse JoJo is looking for a house. So we went out yesterday and we looked at a couple of houses, and we went out with our friend Miguel, who's a superstar in terms of, he's not a renovator, he's not a flipper, he is a neighborhood revitalizer. And you say that tongue in cheek, but no, he's tongue in groove. Because what he does is he takes the old houses from like the 1920s, 1910s, and he restores them to their original look. Or he takes a mid-century modern and he puts stuff in there that would be mid-century modern. Producer Jojo was asking me last night, like, would you put in the old light switches, the pokey ones that you have to do, or would you put in the nice flat, what are called the decor light switches? And I'd say, oh yeah, no, I far prefer that. I'd put them all in. But Miguel, in keeping with the original, the oldest possible light switches you could go with, he goes with the flippies like that. Which, I mean, you can appreciate that goes much more with the style of the home. If you're looking for, boy, I don't even know what era that was, 1920s, I think, original restored homes. Miguel has one that's going on the market in Highland Park. If you're interested, let me know. I can't afford it. I can barely afford the gas to get up to Seattle. Morning, Marcy. Morning, Libby. Good to see you in here. There's a few people watching right now. So let's just take a quick look. Again, my foot is already hurting this morning. For those of you who don't know, I haven't been broadcasting much. I have a broken foot. Supposed to be better by now. This morning it's throbbing. I'll keep this short and sweet. And Producer Denise asked, when am I going to unbox the headphones? I don't know. Not today. I can tell you that. Today I may be starting the travel up to Seattle. Seattle is about 18 hours away. The Oregon passes are clear. It's raining once you get out of California all the way. It's better to travel the mountains during the daytime. So the best case scenario would be for me to drive today, later in the afternoon, and you can travel at night in California. It's just flat. There's nothing. Don't worry about it. All the way up to maybe like Redding, California, somewhere in there, about 8 hours away, so that I can do the 10 hours remaining, the 11 hours remaining tomorrow. And travel through the Oregon mountains during daylight. It's just a safer option. Not that it's, I mean, I've done the drive in the dark before. It's not the most dangerous thing in the world. But it has been snowing there for a week. The roads are clear. It's raining. Lows of like 40 degrees. It's going to be fine if I was to drive the Oregon Pass at night. But on the other hand, with my foot, etc., I don't know how much it's going to hurt as I drive. Now, Kevinly daughter might be going with me, but she has to figure out what to do with her cat. Normally, Nurse JoJo could head on over there and feed the cat, which she did the last time we were in Seattle. Hooray! Nurse JoJo's awesome. Can't say enough things about I can't say enough things about Nurse JoJo. Good or bad. Just not enough. Just not enough things to say about Nurse JoJo. MTG's been kicked off of Twitter. So Marjorie Taylor Greene has been banned from Twitter, according to Marcy. What was the final straw? What did she say that got her kicked off? I'm temporarily banned from Twitter. My account's still there. I just can't access it. Still waiting for them to review my appeal. That's something I do have to take care of in the new year. I also have a car up on jacks that needs brakes in the new year. I also have a broken foot that needs to heal in the new year. Yeah. So, how's everybody else doing, by the way? Oh, COVID disinformation? Good. We might be seeing some COVID information here. We'll jump right into this. No one wants to hear anything about me. Or maybe you do. I don't know. Again, this is Spilling COVFEFE, kids. This isn't an actual live stream. I'm thinking of rebranding the live stream because there's so few Republicans that actually are doing anything. Well, calling it Facts and Friends, as we've called it a few times. I like Facts and Friends because I like facts and I like friends, and I wish I had some. Let's see. Libby's here by happy accident. Okay. So the Spilling COVFEFE, we have no agenda. We bounce around. We might watch some Fucks and Friends. This is Sunday mornings. Jason Chaffetz is substituting in for Maria Bartiromo. Uh-oh. At Random's upset with me. Sorry, guys. Here we go.
Look, there is no federal solution. This gets solved at a state level. I'm looking at Governor Sununu on the board here. He talks about that a lot. And it ultimately gets down to where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah, he said that he would shut down the virus. And everybody get a vaccine. Problem solved. No. No, problem not solved. No. You still have 60% of Republicans who won't get vaccinated. You still have 17% of Democrats. But theoretically at that level, just get the vaccine, people. If you can get the vaccine, get the vaccine. Check with your doctor if you're immunocompromised. Yeah, so what they always do is they've taken this clip, but they're taking it out of context, because right before this, the governors were talking with Joe and saying, hey, like, we're really grateful for all your cooperation. And he says, yeah, well, there's no federal solution. It's got to be a team effort. Everybody. And he said from even while he was campaigning, look, this is going to take a long time. In his first week in office, he said, this is going to take a heck of a lot of time. It's gonna take time, but we're winning the war against the virus. Now we've got this variant, and it is rampaging, but it turns out the symptoms may not be as deadly as Delta. That being said, Delta's still out there. So anyway, just be safe is what I'm saying. Which is why I'm not flying to Seattle. I still have some Southwest points. I could book a Southwest. Wouldn't cost me anything. Now I could drive up to Redding, stay in the hotel. The cheapest hotel I could find is like in Williams, which is cool because that's my name, California. It would still cost me about $60, $70, $80, somewhere in that range to stop at a hotel overnight. But feeling much more refreshed, and I don't know that I can do 17, 18 hours driving with a broken foot. Because I've been sitting here for 10 minutes and my foot hurts. But you know what? Power through. I think the solution is to power through, start early in the morning tomorrow. Drive. And if my foot start hurting, pop myself a couple of Oxycontins. Bob's your uncle. Actually, Bob is my uncle. My uncle's name is Bob. He's my only uncle.
And that's where the patient...
No, I lied. I've also got Uncle Charlie.
...patient is in need of help or preventing the need for help.
But he's technically my uncle-in-law. But Uncle Charlie rocks. Uncle Charlie, probably my favorite uncle. Just because I know him so well. And I forgot him. That's how well I know.
That's President Biden last week saying the solution to fighting COVID-19 resides at the state level.
Yeah, because they're the ones that can actually... They have the power of mandate. The states do, unquestionably. Gibbons v. Ogden, the smallpox, everything comes down to the states being able, the welfare and the health of their state. That's all state stuff. Federal government also has power in that regard. We'll figure out what OSHA has or doesn't have with the Supreme Court. I'm not optimistic. Stop here for rest, bread, and avocados. You have avocados, Stephanie? Yeah. The plan is to stop in Sacramento-ish. Sacramento also has the cheapest hotel rooms, by the way. It's like $55 a night in a Motel 6. Sacramento doesn't seem quite as far as I can get in one day. Redding is about 8 hours. Williams is before that at about 6 hours. Sacramento's about 5 hours. Putting that extra time means less time the next day. Here's the problem. We could bring the cat with us and then problem solved, and then just give the cat to one of our friends in Seattle. If anyone in Seattle is watching and doesn't have a dog, the trouble is you don't want to just ask like random friends. I have friends in Seattle, and I could put it out on Facebook. Who wants to watch a cat for a week? But you don't just invite yourself. I have several close friends where I can stay. The cat can stay, but the trouble is they all have dogs that are aggressive towards cats. Now, my parents have a cat and a dog, and they're both wonderful. But do you bring another cat into that mix? I just don't know anybody without pets.
Despite his promise to quote...
That being said, with a cat, you can leave a cat for 2 weeks. You can't. Just give it a bunch of food. You can't do that with a dog. Cats pee indoors, but you do need someone to... If you do need someone, of course, to clean out the cat box every 4 or 5 days. A week on the off. You don't want to do that, but you do need that. So it's up to Kevinly daughter to get some friends. I don't even want to say that because she's going to feel bad about that. But a lot of Kevinly daughter's friends, like since COVID, you don't get to see her friends much. Plus, her friends are now dispersed all over the place, and that's the way it is in LA too. Because she didn't grow up here, where she lives, her friends live 20, 30, 40 minutes away from there.
Shut down the virus during the 2020 presidential campaign. This comes...
No, definitely starting for a short rest and to pick up some bread for at random if I come see you, Steph. That might be later today. Do you still have that raisin bread or whatever it is at random wanted? It'd probably be tomorrow morning. Now, I could get the message, hey, it's off. They're canceling everything because of the COVIDs, which they kind of think they might do. It depends. I mean, I think they'll wait till tomorrow or maybe Tuesday. But they're not giving me any leeway because I auditioned through my Seattle age. Anyway, it's a different thing.
As new cases are rapidly surging across the country due to the Omicron variant. New York set a record yesterday for its highest ever single-day total of new cases with over...
Stephanie, I don't know. Hold on, we'll take a look at New York in a second here. I don't know when I'm leaving. It could be tomorrow morning, and it could be later on this afternoon. I don't know. I'm still waiting to hear from Kevinly daughter. Let's see if she's responded this morning. Give me a second here. I'll clear my phone. I can't clear my stupid phone because I put a screen protector on my phone, and the screen protector stops me from swiping down and doing it's going back to Amazon.
85,000. Florida is also seeing record.
No, Stephanie, don't make any bread special. I don't know. I'm going back to bed. What cats? Kevinly daughter and cats. Fix it. If it's a dog, I totally get it. Dogs are great. But honestly, you shouldn't change any of your life's plans for a cat. I do like cats. I'm just frustrated because I'm fine with it. I'm like, if someone said, hey, we're leaving to Seattle in 10 minutes, I'll grab my go bag. We're out of here. I have a go bag, duffel bag filled with a couple of pairs of underwear, a couple of pairs of jeans, a couple of pairs, whatever. Grab, go. Easy peasy. A couple of t-shirts in there that every time I open, I go like, oh, that's where this, oh, my Fire Department of New York shirt. Oh, that's where I have that bag ready to go. But it's when good folks like Stephanie or that are now asking, what's your plans, and then I feel like angsty because I don't know. I'm just waiting for other stupid cats. But I'm easy. I'm happy. Either, I just Nurse JoJo's like that. Always super, super, super worried about what her friends or family, like, we can't, I can't, oh my God, can you imagine? And then I say, well, if they did that, oh, we can't be late. She says as she leaves the house 10 minutes after we're supposed to be somewhere. It's like, well, you're gonna go meet your friend and give them some biscotti. Like if your friend came to your house to give you biscotti and they arrived at 2:10 instead of at 2:00, would you be upset at all? No. Well, why would they be upset with you? And can your friend watch Kevinly Daughter's cat? Would be my follow-up question. Good morning, Stephanie. Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Feisty. Good to see you. Or good morning, or good evening, Andy. I guess. How was New Year's in Germany, Andy? Did they lock everything down, or did they have the normal festivities?
Record high cases. Meanwhile, the Biden administration,
Hold on.
country, due to the Omicron variant. New York set a record yesterday for its highest ever single-day total of new cases with over 85,000. Florida is also seeing record high cases.
What? Florida's seeing record high cases? Yeah, so New York and Florida. Shelley, good morning.
Meanwhile, the Biden administration...
But he doesn't say the number in Florida. Hold on. Let's see what the number is in Florida. We can see that together. Hold on. Florida. COVID. What? Florida COVID cases. Okay, so this is Florida, and yesterday, boop, boop, boop. 0 cases. No, let's go back one day. They haven't reported yet in Florida for yesterday. 77,800. So the same number of cases in Florida, with a lower population. I think it's about 29 million. Hold on. Let's just do population by state, so I'm not misquoting it. Population by state. The 50 states. Oh, nope. They're very similar. The new census is out. Florida 21, so it has more peoples. New York 20. So Florida above. Sorry, my bad. And that's why we check. I just wanted to make sure.
Has promised to deliver 500 million at-home tests soon, despite the administration reportedly rejecting a proposal from testing experts in October to ramp up production before the holidays. The president has denied that report. For more on this, let's bring in New York.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't decide whether that's a real report or not. But then again, the reporter who broke that story of the Biden administration saying we don't want those tests, is sticking by her guns.
Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis.
So she's new. She really hasn't had, but I guess she's the holiday Republican rep. We'll find out if she's crazy or not. If she's out there, if she's being pushed forward by the Republican Party, she's probably crazy, but let's find out.
She's a member of the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us on Sunday Morning Futures. Look, the president has been all over the map. He promised to shut it down in July. He said essentially it was shut down. Now he's saying it's really up to the states. He said he had a plan, but I can't tell if the guy has a plan, because if it is, he's holding it.
Well, listen, and then you'll hear the plan. And it started before the election, and hey, we're going to get as many people as we can vaccinated, and we're going to keep doing it, and that's what they've been doing. Okay, not enough people are vaccinated, we're going to have mandates. So, you can't say you don't have a plan when it's literally going before the Supreme Court. Oh, this plan is illegal, but there is no plan. Stop the nonsense, says the doctor to DeSantis. Okay, the New York Post is saying that Ron DeSantis is taking care of his sick wife, not missing. That's the Post, so not a lot of credibility there. But I hope that's the case. I hope that Ron's wife apparently has cancer. I hope she's doing well. I hope that he is taking this time to look after her, but I don't know that any public appearances have happened. This is the holidays. These are the holidays. I wish the family well. But yeah, we're not really sure where he is. Andy says 2G active. You can meet up with up to 10 people if either recovered or vaccinated. Oh, they do the recovered stuff too. Unfortunately, recovered from Delta doesn't provide you any protection against Omicron, is what they found out.
Really good secret there.
Well, Happy New Year, Jason, and thank you for having me. The reality is that the president made a lot of promises during the campaign trail, but we're not seeing it come to fruition now. In fact, he was so critical of President Trump.
Okay, right away, he made a lot of promises. We're not seeing it come to fruition. What? Which one of the promises? That's singular. Promises are plural. Okay. So Kevin McCarthy must love this broad.
Yet we've had more deaths in 2021 under.
But come at me for saying broad.
President Biden, and he had the benefit of the vaccination, which we know reduces the symptoms that somebody.
Call it the Trump vaccine, please.
Experiences if they test positive. And I could tell you from a state.
And we know we have variants now that are far more deadly than the original variant. We know that too. But go ahead.
Like New York, where we have one-party rule and we see restrictions and
Libby recovered from the Alpha variant, which wasn't really a variant, just Alpha. Anyway, she recovered from the original strain of the virus in August of 2020 and had zero protection against getting Omicron. She also works in the healthcare industry, which is, those guys are super susceptible. Marcy prefers Dame to broad. I get it, Toots.
Mandates and people being fired, losing their livelihood if they choose not to vaccinate. These restrictions have done nothing to really reduce the level of these positive cases.
The vaccines have saved a lot of lives, but okay. Oh, the mandates are so bad. There's so many cases. Do you know how many more cases we would have? Just do the math. In fact, don't do the math if you can't, if it's confusing to you at all. You're not capable of it. You guys watching are probably capable of it. So 97% of the people who've died since the vaccines came around have been unvaccinated. Pretty simple math.
You said earlier, we're seeing record positive cases once again. And I believe it's time that this administration focus on therapeutics, focus on treatments. And I've been...
Yes, and they have been. So vaccines, the prevention, ounce of that worth a pound of the pills that are coming out. The FDA has approved them for emergency use. They're coming out, but it takes time to produce these.
Pushing for
and they are pushing them.
That because the reality is that this virus is here to stay. It's various variants, various forms, but we need to learn to...
No, but we need to learn to get rid of it too. We can get rid of it.
Live with it. And the best we're going to do...
Yeah, we can live with it, but you guys won't wear your frickin' masks.
By both vaccines...
Morning, Producer Jojo.
Vaccinating people who want to be vaccinated and making sure they have access to it, but also ensuring that we have the therapeutics and the treatment to treat people, including those positive patients that do end up getting sick, even despite having the vaccination.
Yeah, I kind of like what Congressman Jim Jordan said. He said, if President Biden's plan is working, how come it's not working? It just begs the question.
It's really not that complicated. I think Jim Jordan may not get it, but Jason Chaffetz should get it at this point. Well, you have a much more contagious and deadlier strain, two of them, circulating in the general population right now. There's your answer.
I have people now that are saying...
Plus, no one's locked down anymore. Everyone's running around like the virus is okay. Hey, we got to learn to live with it. Whereas last year, for much of the year, people stayed much more sheltered than they are now. In general. Some of us are still sheltered. What I was going to say is cool in California... is that, good question, Shelley. Why is Biden trying to kill all the unvaccinated? It's an excellent question. It's just a question. I'm not saying that's what's happening. It's just a question. Like a judge just roll over on the bell? I don't know if the judges are here or not yet. What I was going to say is yesterday, Nurse Jojo and myself and our friend Miguel and then the real estate person went to go look at a house for Nurse Jojo. And they are now, people are just doing it. They're just like one family through the house at a time in order to minimize the risk of spread. It doesn't really... It's better than having a whole bunch of people in the house at a time. But everybody queued up and they stayed like 20 feet apart, the little groups of people going in to look at the house. And then you went out the back door and the next group came in. And I think that's, I know in some areas of the country, everybody's partying with their masks off in closed spaces and there's no limits. And there's no one has imposed that in California. But that's what people are doing.
The wrong way to track this is by the number of new cases. How convenient for the new president to be able to take on this role. But it also strikes me, Congresswoman, that it is not a very targeted approach to just blanketly send out 500 million tests. Why not target those that are the most vulnerable? Why not target the people that actually are...
So fewer tests is what you're saying. Okay. All right. We don't have enough tests. What we need is fewer tests.
Showing symptoms. I just don't understand why that isn't the prevailing thought there in Washington, D.C.
I agree with you. And this...
Hold on. Let's get the response to that. Like, why we need fewer tests. By the way, when you send a test to everybody, you're targeting the weak and the vulnerable. Because they're getting tests. Everybody gets tests. Libby still has Omicron symptoms 8 days later, feeling weakness. I'm sorry, Libby. And Marcy's claiming an icky from her booster shot. Yay, good for you, Marcy. That means your immune system's working. It's good news.
Administration sadly has been just very reactive. So instead of focusing on the treatments and therapeutics, they want to focus on more...
What does that even mean?
Mandates. And you're right. If he believes now this should be the responsibility of the states, why is he continuing to try to enforce this mandate on every business across America? 82 million Americans would be affected by it. And
it's not every business across America. Small businesses are not affected. So the backbone of the American economy, the engine that drives the economy, whatever you want to call small businesses, not affected by this. 100 or more employees only. And you don't have to get vaccinated. You can get tested. That's all.
Many will lose their livelihoods as a result. That is why I and 180 other colleagues of mine in Congress have filed an...
Oh my God, Connecticut rocks. Libby says that everyone in Connecticut now has 2 tests and 2 real N95s. Every resident of Connecticut got them. Connecticut's rocking. That's awesome.
Amicus brief with the Supreme Court, which will be hearing that case, or at least for the stay, on...
What?
So instead of focusing on the treatments and therapeutics, they want to focus on more mandates. And you're right. If he believes now this should be the responsibility of the states, why is he continuing to try to enforce this mandate on every business across America? 82 million Americans would be affected by it, and many will lose their livelihoods as a result. That is why I and 180 other colleagues of mine in Congress have filed an amicus brief with the Supreme Court, which will be hearing that case, or at least for the stay, on January 7th.
That'll be interesting, too, especially since it's the day after the anniversary of January 6th. Kind of torn. I believe I have my footage, the 16-hour footage that I broadcast last year on January 6th, which then YouTube took down. I was not saying it was a good thing. I was just reporting the news. So they took that footage down. I'm torn as to whether to try and put it up again or I probably shouldn't because YouTube's still mad at me. I'm still demonetized on YouTube. That's another thing I have to take care of in the next few days, if I can. Yeah, so the Supreme Court, what she's saying is we filed an amicus brief, her and a bunch of other GOP House members. An amicus brief is just a paper given to the Supreme Court. It just basically means friends of the court. So we're the friends of this side of the issue. This is what we think. Anybody can file an amicus brief. It probably costs like $249 to file or whatever it is. But yeah, you just sign on to it and, we agree that vaccine mandates are unconstitutional or whatever. And then the court looks at that and goes, okay. They may not even look at it.
Well,
She's pretty nervous. She's swallowing a lot.
good luck with that.
Yeah, well, good luck with that.
I want to talk about crime because there is an intersection here, and I know you're keen on crime and being able to fight crime.
She's keen on crime.
First of all, we have an open border. It's as
we don't have an open border.
porous as it can be.
It's not as porous as it can be. We are having encounters with people trying to come across the border. They are being arrested and immediately expelled under Title 42. We are taking in families, and we are taking care of them, but they are being deported right back to Mexico. But most of them don't come from Mexico, by the way. The Remain in Mexico policy doesn't apply to Mexicans. So the court is currently enforcing remain in Mexico. The Biden administration is fighting that. They think that those people should be, under asylum law, be able to stay here in the United States. It's a paperwork issue. Anyway.
Flows, people coming across with who knows what, whether it's Omicron or you know, the virus or drugs or whatnot. But then you...
Well, no, but they're being arrested. We have a record number... a record number? I guess that's right. It's a singular, though. Anyway, a whole bunch of drugs being confiscated at the borders. That's good. I mean, CBP is doing their jobs and doing it well.
Also have this crime surge that's happening in these Democratic...
Hi, Allison. New Jersey had over 32,000 new cases yesterday. That's bad. It's surging everywhere.
cities, including New York City, which is close to you.
Yeah. One of the first things I did as a member of Congress was visit the...
Okay, she doesn't represent New York City, though. But it's close to her, so let's talk about it. Okay.
Southern border to expose what was going on there. And basically, President Biden has allowed...
Finally! She went to the southern border, so she exposed it. Now we know. Thanks to Congressperson... I don't know. Anyway, now we know about the southern border. Thank you for being a hero.
Cartels to run our southern border. We are seeing record individuals being smuggled over the border, but also we're seeing drugs, fentanyl.
If we were seeing them, they would be caught. They wouldn't be effectively smuggled at that point, but okay.
As you know, is now the leading cause of deaths in a new report among 18 to 45-year-olds. So we could talk about COVID, but among that age group, it is fentanyl, and that stuff is pouring over our border. The drug cartels are making billions and billions of dollars a month just doing that. And so we need to secure...
We get it. Drugs are bad. Yeah.
Secure our border. It is shocking to me that President Biden continues to push the Supreme Court to allow him to repeal once again the Remain in Order. He doesn't want to comply with it, despite the fact that it was effective in keeping people in Mexico until their asylum cases can be heard. And
it did nothing to address the flow of drugs. These are two completely separate topics. These are families. These are families trying to make a better life for themselves in the United States. They're not smuggling in fentanyl in their tukuses.
They're properly vetted. Now, locally, we have New York City, of course, is sadly a sanctuary city. We continue to protect those who are here illegally committing crimes. In fact, someone who was...
Or not committing crimes. I mean, if they're committing crimes, they get dealt with the justice system. That's how justice works.
Arrested, a Mexican national who was committing drug trafficking, allegedly fentanyl, here in New York City, was released by a judge back onto the streets. So we need our mayor to appoint...
Did he make bail? Is that what happened? But thanks for filling in the details.
Good judges to the bench, number one. But we also need to ensure that he fights for changes to the disastrous bail reform in Albany that has led to individuals constantly being put back on the streets despite having 2 dozen, 3 dozen prior arrests and convictions. Unfortunately, in New York City in 2021, we saw nearly 500 murders, which is the most we've seen in a decade here in New York City. And categories of crime, everything from shootings to rape to robbery to car thefts, have all skyrocketed. And in fact, it'd be interesting to know that
skyrocketed? 4% is skyrocketing?
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's home borough of the Bronx is where a third of the shootings took place in New York City, and she is one of the leading advocates of the defund the police movement.
Okay, but they haven't been defunded, but okay.
Yeah, this idea of the bail reform, getting these people back out on the street as quickly as possible, I think is not the right way to solve this. And
I don't think it is either. The trouble is that we have something called innocent until proven guilty.
you have to have prosecutors that are actually going to prosecute these crimes in Los Angeles with District Attorney Gascon. You see,
Right, and that costs more money. So you need more in tax revenue. But you guys are just all about cutting the taxes. I don't know who's going to pay for it.
seen it as rampant as can possibly be, and the solution ends up just being just absolutely horrendous in terms of its consequences. I want to turn now. Let's listen to Governor Abbott. He was interviewed by Maria Bartiromo, and I want you to listen to this and give me your reaction to it.
The cartels are advertising on TikTok to get drivers to assist in them moving illegal immigrants around the state of Texas. It's an issue that the Texas Department of Public Safety is working to crack down upon, but it shows the extent to which Texas law enforcement officers have to step up and deal with the challenges that are created by the Biden administration importing illegal activity into our country and into our state.
They're not. The administration is not actively importing illegal activity into the states.
Now, we only have a short amount of time here.
Good, because I'm done.
But I think you've been talking about this, the crime, COVID, fentanyl, open borders, they all kind of mesh together. But you're left with states like Texas, where Governor Abbott has got his hands full, and the administration is not doing its job. What can you do in Congress to get the administration to act?
What can she do? Absolutely nothing. She's in the minority. She's in the GOP. There's not. I hope she answers just, yeah, there's not much we can do. I mean, I've already been to the border to raise awareness. No one had heard about the border issue until I went down to the border from Connecticut.
Actually enforce the laws that are currently on the books.
Well, as you know, those states have taken their fight to court, which is the right thing to do, and that is why the Biden administration has been forced to reinstate the Remain in Mexico. The sad thing is that now they're even fighting to try to get the Supreme Court to revisit it again so they can no longer enforce the Remain in Mexico policy that was clear and was working. The reality is, and this is what I asked on the floor...
But it wasn't working. It was just putting those families and the children in danger in Mexico. No evidence that it was actually working. I mean, if it was working, you wouldn't have seen there was COVID, bad COVID, and border encounters went down. And then they started going back up again. And they've continued to go up and down this year. But this happened while Trump was in office.
My colleagues and the President of the United States, whose side are you on? Are you on the side of the...
Marcy says, this lady looks like every annoyed sister in Hallmark movies. That is true.
drug cartels, or you are on the side of the American people? When you see those numbers out of 18 to 45-year-olds, the leading cause of death is fentanyl, and you know it's streaming over our border.
So what do? You work to cut off the supply and raise prices and create crime. Or maybe you address drug use. Maybe you take a look at the demand and try and figure out why. Maybe you legalize drugs. Maybe you decriminalize them. Maybe you do like Portugal and say, okay, it's not a crime anymore. You get rid of the cartel at that point because the profit motive is gone. And if you need to do drugs, first off, we have treatment available. Secondly, we have alternatives for you if you're addicted to this substance, etc. The trouble is most of it's recreational and the drugs are deadly. So figure out a way to supply them that aren't going to kill people. There's other solutions for this. Yes, I know it's easy for me just to sit here and pontificate because no one solved it yet. But other countries are doing a much better job with it.
You have a responsibility to do something. And the fact that they go out of their way to continue to allow this illegal migration, which, by the way, this year will total more than the population of the president's home state of Delaware.
That's not impressive. Delaware's like this big. I mean, it's somewhere between the population of Delaware and a ball pit in IKEA in a Saturday.
And the vice president's home city of San Francisco combined. So we have legislation that would permanently put...
What?
to allow this illegal migration, which, by the way, this year will total more than the population of the president's home state of Delaware and the vice president's home city of San Francisco combined. So we have legislation.
Okay. So more people have come across the 2,000-mile border than live in one city and a tiny state combined. All right. It's not true, by the way.
That would permanently put Remain in Mexico into law, but we need to take back the House in order to do it, because Nancy
Yes, you do.
Pelosi would never allow it to the floor under this Congress.
Right. Because you have no power.
Yeah, there are 23 retiring Democrats on slate here, and Republicans better come up with a way to not just be the party of no, but just and say, hey, this is our agenda. This is what we would do. This, if you put us in charge, is what we will actually do. Because all of these retirements, these wave of retirements creates a great opportunity. And Republicans, we're going to have you back on, talk more about their agenda, what they can do. But for now, let's just say Happy New Year. And thank you, Congresswoman Maliataka.
All right. She's not going to get that much airtime. She doesn't say ridiculous things like MTG. She's not even banned from Twitter. Come on, people. All right, I think that's it. I got to start my day. Holy crap, that was like 45 minutes. So thanks for watching, everybody. Excuse me. Tomorrow, one way or another, no broadcast. Steph, I'll touch base with you later if I'm gonna head out of town today and maybe stop by your place later in the evening. Everybody else, thank you for watching. Unlikely to broadcast tomorrow. I'll probably be traveling up to Seattle, either from here or from Northern California. I don't know, but I won't have time to broadcast. And I don't think I can broadcast. I haven't figured out how to do it over my phone. And we'll do Shark another day. So everybody have a great day and a great Dane. And we will see you, I don't know, hopefully Tuesday. Be good to yourself, be good to others, most importantly, be good to a dog.